What if the problem isn't the relationship, but the pattern behind it? I see it all the time. Good people trapped in the same cycle, experiencing the same conflicts, frustrations, and outcomes. Even when the individuals and circumstances differ, such as a different workplace or relationship, the results remain the same. Welcome to the Family and Beyond podcast. I'm Bim Delalu, family lawyer, qualified mediator, and legal coach. And today, we close the I Wish series with this final episode, Breaking the Loop, from personal healing to healthy parenting and healthy relationships. This isn't about one situation that didn't work out. This is about patterns that keep showing up and the role we play in them. Most people think relationships break down is about a specific issue. It's not. What presents as a conflict is often a pattern, how people communicate, how they react under pressure, how they handle disagreement, how they avoid accountability. These patterns are rarely new. They are carried and then repeated. So what looks like a disagreement is often as a result of poor communication, and what looks like high conflict is often an inability to self-regulate, to pause, to respond properly, to disengage when necessary. And this is where relationships begin to deteriorate, not because there was no effort, but because there was no awareness. Sometimes, even the effort people put in is often driven by those same patterns we're talking about. Some people put in very little effort and then they expect big results. Others try once and then decide it's not worth trying again. I tried. And then you ask them, so how many times did you try? Once. That's what I call minimum effort. And the reality is this: good intentions do not prevent dysfunction. People can want the relationship to succeed and genuinely believe that they have good intentions and then still behave in ways that undermine it, either through defensiveness, escalation, withdrawal, the need to control, inconsistent communication, such that over time, those patterns erode the relationship. And when people are not really listening, when they are listening only to respond, nothing really changes. Now, I reckon that these are not legal issues on their own, but over time, they become the basis of legal issues. Because when patterns are not addressed, they don't disappear. No. Instead, they intensify, they take root, and eventually they show up in a different form. So breaking the loop requires two things. Number one, awareness. Number two, accountability. What is awareness? Awareness is recognizing how you contribute to the dynamic. Asking yourself simple questions like, why did I say that? Why did I react that way? Was that really necessary? Accountability is choosing to change it, not explaining it away, not justifying it, not deflecting, but understanding, because once you identify the pattern, you are no longer operating unconsciously. At that point, when you continue with that pattern, that's you making a choice. And this is where healing comes in, because breaking the loop is not just about understanding the pattern, it's about doing the work required to change it. And that shows up in how we relate to people, in our relationships, in how we communicate, in how we respond when things are difficult. Because the same patterns that show up in a conflict also show up in connection. And if we don't address them, we repeat them in every relationship that follows. And this is where the legal system comes in when it comes to parenting in particular. By the time people enter into litigation, the pattern has already escalated. Now, you see it showing up as parenting dispute, decision-making conflict, communication breakdown, and inability to cooperate with the other parent. Typically, I would just say often, clients tend to focus on outcomes. So they say, I want an agreement, I want more parenting time, this person is preventing me from seeing my children, I don't want the other party to be involved in decision making because I don't trust them. I don't want them to have access to this information. But here's the reality. A court order or written agreement does not resolve dysfunction. You could manage it, but an agreement would not also help you with effective co-parenting. It will only outline expectations. So you have situations whereby one person intends for things to go on or happen in a certain way, but they act in a different way. You find parents speaking negatively or demeaning the other parent in the presence of the children, and wonder why the children wound up in bullying, in criminal activities at an early age. Here's the thing. What happens between parents day to day is what determines whether co-parenting works. Not the document, the behavior, the choices they make. Children are not removed from the dynamic. They observe, they feel it, they adapt to it. Even when you think they don't, they're not listening, they see how you treat each other and they learn from it. They learn what relationships look like, what communication looks like. They learn what is acceptable. They learn what they should accept in their own relationships. Some children become used to chaos, and when they experience calm, it feels unfamiliar. So they go looking for what feels normal, which is chaos. So as a family lawyer, I will say this clearly. Successful co-parenting and even healthy relationships require intentional effort. Breaking patterns, managing conflict, being aware of your responses, taking accountability, communicating clearly, setting boundaries, and I will say this is not optional. And for many people, this requires support. So support could be talking to a therapist, taking parenting courses, attempting mediation, using a parenting coordinator. These are not extras. They are necessary for a lot of people because without intervention, that conflict would continue. So the loop is not broken by understanding the problem. It is broken by changing behavior, not just awareness, but adjustment, not just intention, but discipline. Because once awareness is present, continuing the pattern is no longer automatic. It becomes a decision. At the end of this series, the takeaway is simple. Most people do not lack information. They lack application. I wish I knew is common, but knowing is not enough. What matters is what changes after the awareness. Because if you don't change anything, nothing changes. If the pattern continues, conflict continues, and the impact on you or on your children or even your relationships also continue. So the question is not whether you understand the issue. The question is, what are you going to do differently? So let's break the loop. This is Family and Beyond, where we examine not just the law, but the behavior behind it. Thank you for being part of this I Wish series. Until the next time.